I have been putting off filming this for a while. I've had the idea. Let's just say I've had the idea for a while, but I've not had the balls to post it. And that's because when I added everything up that we have spent renovation-wise on this house, I was kind of shocked. But I mean, look, we bought a fixer-upper on purpose. So today I'm going to run through everything we've done over the last 3.5 years and what it actually cost. So we chose to buy a more affordable house, one that kind of just needed a bit of work. And the reason is because we didn't want to have a huge, overwhelming mortgage. So instead we've just been kind of fixing it up and improving it over time in a way that we can afford to do so. Everything we've done has been really intentional. It adds value to the property, and they are things that we use pretty much every day. So yeah.
Hi, if you're new here, I'm Tash and this is our quaint little 90s home. She was in pretty much original condition when we moved in. Like, I don't think anything had been changed except for maybe the carpet. Everything else was as is. So we knew we were going to have to put in quite a bit of work to make her beautiful again. And this video I'm going to take you through pretty much everything that we've done so far. We still have a lot to go. The outside is pretty much done. But we definitely have to do a bit of work on the inside still. These are before photos, before we moved in, and yes, those hideous 90s chandeliers, we all know them. And the salmon kitchen, she's still there. But let's start running through everything that we've done so far to help her along on her little glow up. Okay, so one of the first things we did when we moved in was the fence, because we had no fence in between the front and the backyard. We obviously had Hunter, so we knew that that was something that we needed to do. So the first thing that we did was we added the fences, and for parts and the builder friend that we had help put it in over 2 days, that came in at about $2,100. And then the second thing that we did, this front veranda, and we also added on the patio. Reason being, because we had Hunter, we knew we needed somewhere for him to be able to have shade, shelter, all the above, and we knew we had plans of what we were going to do eventually to be able to use this space better, because this door was never here. The patio and the veranda came in at about $13,000, so that was one of our bigger expenses. Now, in total honesty, the front veranda was not necessary. I wouldn't call it necessary, but it does add. It's just beautiful at the front there. We also used to have the sun blaring in on this window because it stopped here. The roof line stopped here. The sun would blare in on this window and it creates so much heat through the house. So in order to protect the front of the house a little bit better and make it look beautiful, we ended up adding the veranda. Okay, so the next thing that we did when we moved in was, when we moved in here, we had 11 massive trees on our little 440 square meter block. We had so many big trees. I'm talking huge. They were as big as the neighbors over there. That is how big these trees were. So we couldn't afford to remove them all in one go. So we did it in 2 stages. The first stage was $7,500. The second lot of tree removal came in at $4,000, which makes it $11,500 just on tree removal. And what that did is it gave us the space to, over here, put these sheds in. We knew that Theo was on his way. We knew we needed extra space because we were so jammed in this little 3-bedroom house. These were non-negotiable before he was born. They had to be done. So the trees had to go. As you can imagine, these sheds were next to go in. So this shed was already on the property. It was, however, over there. So we didn't have to purchase this shed, thankfully. This one we just got off Marketplace and it was really cheap. But the concrete, so this is a DIY job that Wesley did with our friends. The concrete came in at $4,000. And the reason why I wanted 2 separate sheds was because this one here is our garden shed. So it's got all the stinky lawnmower and all that sort of stuff in it. And then this one has like tubs of like mementos and all that sort of stuff. So that's why I wanted 2 separate sheds. But they definitely add, once again, value to the property because it classes as storage. Okay, so the next thing we did was our master bedroom. The reason we did our master bedroom was because it was so unusable. The space had 2 wardrobes that just jutted out. You could barely fit a queen bed and 1 side table. It also had a door to the bathroom, which was just totally unnecessary because the bathroom is right next door. So the bedroom was the next space because once again, I was pregnant with Theo and I knew I needed somewhere to put the bassinet. I didn't want to be sleeping on the floor anymore. I think I slept on the floor for pretty much my whole pregnancy. Yeah, so that was the next space that we did. Wesley's asleep, so he's gonna be in my video asleep. But yeah, so this is the space now. And it used to have, we used to have a door to the bathroom here, and then there was a wardrobe that stuck out there and another wardrobe that stuck out here. So like you can imagine how narrow it was. We used to sleep on the floor in this corner. We didn't even have a side table, I'm just trying to remember. No, we just had the bed. And then down this end, because it was a really long rectangle room, this wall wasn't here. That was just a flat wall. So we've added in the wardrobe space. And we also changed the carpet. So we are eventually going to change all of the carpet in the house. As you can see, we just chopped it. So this black carpet is going to go. I'm going to get hard floors out here or vinyl planks or something like that. And then we're going to change the other 2 bedrooms to this grey carpet as well. But the carpet was about $890 for the 1 room, builder $1,000 for a couple of days work. And then the wardrobe inserts were around $850. The next big change that we made was we added in this door to the outside patio. So this was just like a skinny little window up the top. We obviously already had the patio out there, so we wanted to be able to use the space, so we wanted to add a door. Obviously, when you have small children, you want to have a safe place for them to play. So having an outdoor area that leads out to the backyard is essential. This addition in particular, I feel like has added a lot of value to the home, especially in Queensland. We are very outdoorsy people and every family wants to have an outdoor area that they are able to use. Actually just remembered something little that we did. So there was a box aircon through the wall here. When they did the door, they pushed that out and we actually had a brickie come and use. So when they were knocking this wall down, because it was brick wall from here down, when they were knocking it down, they were making sure to keep some of the bricks intact. Because then we just hired some brickie from High Pages and he bricked it up. So like you can't even see, like you would have no idea that there was a big hole in the wall here for the aircon. But the door came to, it was about $2,000, which still shocks me. That was the builder friend coming to install it for a day and also the door supply itself. Okay, so after this door went in is when we finally got some concrete to our front area and our patio area. Before we just had this horrible rock garden thing here. It was a rocky paved path. It was actually really unsafe, especially the kids. They used to fall over all the time. But yeah, none of this concrete was here. So initially we just had the path done, the veranda, and then we did have the patio done. The driveway came later. So the first lot of concrete that we had done, $8,500 I think, almost $9,000 for the first lot. The second lot of concrete was our driveway, and that came to our second driveway. That came to, it was $8,000, but Wesley traded for some electrical work. So the concrete had brought it down to $6,000. Concrete is really expensive. Between the concrete and the patio and veranda, they chewed up a big chunk, so yeah. Another thing that we did add to the property, which also adds value, is we added fully ducted air conditioning, which is also zoned as well. So we did add an air conditioning system. Our ducted system was about $8,000. Next, we did our roof and our solar system. Our roof used to be this really horrible old reddish colour. It was something that was on the list since we moved in. The building and pest, even the guy mentioned that the roof needs to be redone. And it was on the list for a while. We only just did that at the end of last year. He also painted our garage door for us. So our garage door used to have this red stripe, this one over here has. We live in a complex, by the way, but it used to have this red stripe on it, which I absolutely hated. So I got him to paint the garage door the same color as the like gutters and stuff. So the roof came to, with the garage door, $5,280. The difference a roof repaint does. So we got a 6.6 kilowatt solar system put on our home. To have that installed was $4,690. Are we freaking out yet? Because are you adding this up? Like, it's wild how quickly this all just piles up. I think I mentioned earlier that everything we've done has been really intentional and does add value to the property, except there is one thing that we did that I don't think adds value and is more just like a lifestyle choice, but I'll show you what that is. So something that we had done recently is this little turfed play area for the kids. And like, let's be honest, this doesn't add value, but it's definitely a very used space. And I hands down think it's so worth it because the kids can play here, they don't get muddy. This is always dry and clean, and it's such a good idea if you have something like this set up, or like a trampoline or whatever. It's just such a good setup for the kids to be able to stay clean, tidy, and not ruin your grass when you do put stuff like this out. To do this little turfed area, just this, I don't know how people afford to do their whole backyard, but just this alone was $2,700, so it's not cheap. Now, I haven't even included things like painting, the door hardware that we've replaced on heaps of our doors, landscaping. There are so many areas of our home that we have drastically improved, and I haven't even added these or factored these into the total. Yeah, so the total for the stuff that I have rattled off to you today, I wrote a list of everything and I added it all up. I literally went through like bank statements because you lose track, but just to see how much we spent, and the total for everything that I've said today is over $72,000. Trust me, I know that figure sounds really scary, but I think the takeaway from this is that our mortgage is still so much more affordable than if we were to max out our borrowing. And also we're doing this in stages, which can be frustrating sometimes because you just want it all done at the one time. But it's also so satisfying to see the transformation that we've already done on our home. I think it's really cool for the kids to see us put in the hard work as well. I don't know, maybe even teach them some things. Anyway, she's still a work in progress, but we're getting there. Anyways, I would love to know what you guys think. Do you think it is better to buy something already done or buy a fixer-upper and do it as you go? Let me know what you think. Anyways, we have a play date. Poppy doesn't know. We have a play date. So I've got to go and get ready. I will chat to you all later. Bye.